meeting. We'll start tonight with public comment. Does anyone wish to comment before we start? Not, we'll move to the first item, the Donors Choose grant. Oh, Deana's here.
Yes. Deana? Yes? Could you please come to the podium? Thank you. And will you make sure that your microphone is on?
Yes, there should be something to press. Yep.
There you go.
She's good.
Thank you.
Don't take more than 100.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to present to you tonight. My name is Deana Storey. I'm a special ed teacher at South Middle School. This is my 7th year in Pennridge, and so far I've loved every minute of it, and I expect to continue to do so. This year has been one of quite a few challenges for me. We were down a special ed teacher, and I offered to change my schedule to better meet the needs of the students who had been in a class that was missing a teacher for the start of the school year. So I picked up the 6th grade Read 180 class at South. I had 16 kids in the class to start, and quickly I realized that I was working with a group of kids whose reading levels varied greatly. I completed lots of testing on these students to kind of hone in on where their needs were, and I found that I was working with a group of students who ranged in reading abilities from the pre-primer level, which are beginning readers, still trying to identify the letters of the alphabet and the sounds that they make, all the way up to students who were getting ready to exit Read 180 because they were just this far away from being on grade level readers as 6th graders. So that's a huge gap of skills within one classroom. And as teachers, we do expect to have students in our classrooms that are on different levels. However, I've never been faced with such a large gap before. So immediately I started looking for additional ways that I can support my students, looking for ways to help with their learning needs and their learning styles. So I thought about how the elementary schools like to use iPads to help the students with their writing skills. And so I decided to investigate whether or not there were some reading apps that I could as well. After I looked more, I did find that there were some good reading applications out there that would be used within an iPad. So I did apply for the PCEF grant earlier in this school year. However, there were multiple people who put in for the grant for iPads, so unfortunately, since they couldn't meet the requests of everyone, that request was not fulfilled. So I did see earlier, just a couple months ago, there was another teacher within the district who went the route of the Donors Choose website, so I thought I'd investigate that a little bit more. After speaking with the teacher from Grass who was able to go through the Donors Choose, I found that it was a pretty quick and simple process within the website. She was able to raise just over $600 within about 2.5 weeks, and she received her product that she had requested very quickly after those donations had been given. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. So right now I've done a lot of changes within my reading class to better fit the needs of the students, to the point where we have index cards where the students are matching up words to make compound words. They're moving their cards around to make the different short vowel sounds within the words, and they're doing a lot of manipulative things with their hands, which is great, which is what these kids need. But this is taking lots of index cards, lots of time to make them, laminate them so that we can use them over and over, when actually there are applications out there on the iPads that do all of this, so that the students would be a little bit more engaged. It seems a little bit more on their level, because again, these are 6th grade students who have very low reading levels. Another reason why my students struggle so much to read is that their vocabulary itself is very low, meaning that we'll introduce new words and they've never heard the word before, they don't know what the word means. Even if it's a word just such as cactus, they couldn't even tell me what a cactus was. So if I had an iPad with me, I could, quickly pull up a picture of one and show them what it was, so that not only are they learning a new word, but now they have that mental image in their head, and they're able to, learn not only what does it look like, but also how is it spelled, how do I pronounce it, how do I read it, how do I spell it. So what I am looking to do is, in front of you, you do have an attachment, I hope, that has a Donors Choose website and all the information that I've provided, so that potential donors would be able to know where their money is going and what they are looking to help our school and help my students with. So upon your approval, if possible tonight and then in the future with board, then I would like to launch this website so that we can help students access more information and kind of branch out and add additional technology into South Middle School. So what I'm looking for with this Donors Choose website, going through the Amazon business link that Donors Choose provides, there would be 3 iPads purchased as well as 3 cases, and these are the durable cases that are good for students, and they also have that stand so it can kind of rest up and sit there and be propped up so that it would be easy to use and slide things across and match things together like I kind of mentioned with the index cards and everything like that. When I did the grant before, I did look into some other apps, so focusing not just on the reading, but I've also taken over a couple other part-time learning support classes, so I am working with math. Within my Reading 180 course, there is a lot of writing involved too. So I think that these iPads could be something that are manipulated not just in reading, but also with the writing and with the math. And I think that they would just be a great resource for my students. So.
Questions from board members about this proposal? Mrs. Miller?
Yeah, I have a question at the start of your presentation. How
Yes.
did you're a teacher at South Middle School?
Yes.
And is this your first year? Explain the genesis of that again.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We have had 6 special ed teachers in our building, and one of them resigned right at the very end of the summer. So we were down a teacher.
I see.
And she was what we considered our part-time learning support teacher. So she had the specialized classes.
Okay.
So since my certifications fit some of her classes, I volunteered to take those, and then that way the day-to-day sub that was coming in could go into the co-taught classes. That way these learning support students who are very low when it comes to their abilities, being the part-time learning support, they'd have a little bit more consistency, and it's been something that I've enjoyed so much this year, I'm going to continue doing it next year as well.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Are we supportive of this proposal?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Okay, great.
great. Good luck with it.
Question.
Thank
Can she
you.
stay?
Thank you.
Can she stay? I have a question.
I can say. If that's-
Okay, that would be great.
Okay, great.
The next item has to do with a proposal, which I've now lost on my screen. Apex Learning, Mrs. Gurysh.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I would like to let you know of a pilot of Apex comprehensive courses that we have begun. Apex Learning is one of the leading providers of online curriculum, not only comprehensive courses that can be used to guide and support a teacher in a one-to-one or in a face-to-face situation, but they also offer cyber classes which students can enroll in that are taught by a teacher employed by Apex. They also provide tutorials services for everything from ELA to math to social studies to SAT prep. So it's a very wide range, very well-known learning company. And what we are going to be doing is we're going to be piloting their comprehensive courses. These are courses that are full curriculum. They run the entire gamut in terms of curriculum offerings for a high school. It includes English, social studies, math, science, foreign language, business courses, elective courses as well. What we will gain access to within this pilot are these courses, any course that we would need, and we have 25 seats into these courses as well. And our goal with these courses is to use them to offer a personalized path for our students who are in our Twilight program and who will be enrolled in our summer school program this year. One of the unique features of these comprehensive courses is that they have a prescriptive setting within them. So what a student could do in our summer school situation, for example, is they could come into summer school, take a test that targets and identifies their skills and their weaknesses, and then it will create a customized learning path for them so that they can work on the skills, the standards, specifically that they're lacking. Once they complete that and they show that they've met the standards, they would complete the remediation needs for summer school. Prior to access to these courses, what we've done in previous years is we've given students kind of a standard packet of material to make up the work that they may or may not have missed out on during the academic year. Not a very personalized program, more of a here's packet 1, here's packet 2, and every student got the exact same sequence of packets. What this again will allow for us is to create a personalized pathway for the students so that they're really being remediated on the skills and standards in which they are deficient. This will also be an efficient method for us to deliver quality instruction to our Twilight students as well. One of the other things that we see with this is that potentially down the road, and this kind of goes into my next point or my next topic within the agenda, is that these courses, if we find them to be successful, as we develop our cyber partnerships and as we develop our cyber options for students, buying some of these courses may help us expedite our growth of our own cyber program. So if anybody has any questions about APEX before we move on to the point 4.
How many students do we currently have in the Twilight program?
Currently, there are, I believe it was 4 to 6 students within the Twilight program. Do you remember Dr. Scheid when you met with Ms. Bellick?
Actually, I thought it was 7.
Was it 7? Okay. 7 months.
But a very limited.
Very, very small number. So what's really great is we get 25 seats within this pilot, and one of the reasons why we really liked what this company has to offer is that these are 25 seats that are renewable. So for example, if a student in Twilight right now is using the course, that student they're using a seat, that student can enroll in as many courses as he needs to meet his needs, and then when he finishes, that license doesn't disappear. That license can be transferred then to another student. Many other products that we've seen out there, once you buy a seat and it's used by a student, that seat disappears. So this is a much more flexible and much more affordable program, and that's why we're really very interested in seeing how it works.
And do we have any idea how many summer school students we might have at this point?
It varies. Since we do have 25 seats, they're usually somewhere around 20 students in summer schools. We're anticipating that these 25 seats will be enough to meet the demand that's typical for summer school.
Other board members?
Can you explain what the Twilight program is?
I will do my best because I'm new to it. Dr. Scheid, please feel free to jump in. Our Twilight program is an alternative placement for students who are having attendance issues, behavior issues in the traditional academic day. It's primarily senior students who are at risk for dropping out, at risk of just not having a successful senior year, so it's an alternative placement for them. I believe it runs 3 days a week in the evening from 4. Do you remember the timing of it?
It's 2 hours. It's 3 days a week. It's an alternative ed program for our students. There's not a lot of students participating.
Is it here? Who are teaching the classes?
It's here. It's in one. I don't know the name. I don't remember which room number it is, but it's held here. And the teacher she's actually a teacher. I think she teaches at one of the middle schools in Council Rock. She's not a Pennridge teacher, but she was hired for this position. Nicole, I can never remember. Bellick, right, Nicole Bellick. So from my understanding, she's been doing it for a couple of years.
This is her second.
Yeah, can you explain how it works? Because they're only going 3 days a week instead of 5 and covering the same material? Or they're only doing enough to get the credits that they need?
It is.
And then do they still get the same diploma? You're saying? Like they just get?
They can. They have the opportunity to. Some of the students work towards it and complete the work that they need to do. I believe that several of the students, there's mental health issues and things that, going to school all day does not accommodate them. So, yes, they can graduate. That's the whole purpose, to get them to graduate. And the teacher works individually with those students. She also has We brought her in because I had never met her, and we brought her in to talk to her about what's that like for our students, and the instruction was similar to the packet kind of instruction, and we talked to her about personalizing the instruction, and she was on board with that. She talked to the students, and then Cara was going down to talk to the students as well, because we know they're in that program for a particular reason, and it wasn't to impose on them if that wasn't going to work for them, but that was a different option for them. So that is why we considered Twilight and the summer school, because the summer school program, the students come in and it seemed that everyone received the same instruction. And so this program will personalize the instruction, and they should meet the target goals, and there's data in there that will run, so the teacher who teaches the summer school program will have that ongoing data all summer.
Can you, sorry, I meant
So so I understand the summer school because the students just did it on their own. They would come in, get the material, and go home. So they would just work on the material at home. So how would the Twilight program work? Would they still need to come in during that time, or would they just do the work at home?
The students in the summer school actually were in school doing those packets. They were all in the same classroom. That's where I visited them last year, so they actually came to school. This will be interesting. We've had a lot of conversation about it. What should that look like? And we absolutely want everyone to come into school to take the pre-test, to get them started, show them how to do it. Yes, they'll have the flexibility to do that work at home, but when it comes to the quizzes, they'll have to take them in front of the teacher so we know who's taking the quizzes. Short of that, it does provide that flexibility that they can learn at home. Some students want to be in front of a teacher, some students won't, but they'll still have to go through the program and show that they reach the whatever proficiency level that we determine would make them successful.
What's our success rate for the Twilight? And this is the first year it's running. It's been running.
Oh, no. The Twilight program was instituted by Dr. Creed
That's what I'm
years
saying.
ago
So that's what I'm saying. This is
for
the first year.
just this purpose of trying to get students who were close to graduation, but not there, not going to make it, with the criteria that we set up. And this was to assist them, even if they didn't get it the year that they should have graduated, they could recover that, whatever they needed, and get a diploma.
So
at
do
some
we know
point.
our success rate over like the last few years?
I do not, but I will find that
Yeah,
out.
I'd be curious.
Absolutely.
I just have another question. It says that, so we used to provide we had a teacher that we were providing to Bridges, and is that where the money is coming from? Because I thought that, it just says the rationale is because we're ending the relationship with Bridges.
That's the next one.
Next topic.
That would be the number 4.
I don't know, it's all together on the
Yes.
document, so it's not,
Okay.
I thought that's the rationale for,
The rationale is
it's all
that
together one thing.
okay. So I'll try to explain it better then. The rationale was to meet the needs of the students to a better degree than we thought we were doing. So that's the rationale for us even investigating it. As far as where the funds are coming,
Well, it says right on here, it says it's a replacement for the packet system, is the rationale behind it, is the way I read
But
No,
not
but
the
it's-
bridges.
that. Just referring to Apex, we're discussing Apex, right? Isn't that the one
Right,
we're discussing?
yes.
Okay, so that's the rationale there.
No, but the heading is expansion and changes to our current cyber partnership and pilot of online curriculum, and then there's 2 main bullets under that, so it looks like it's all together.
If I can explain, the order on the agenda, I was planning on talking about the IU partnership first. So changing our IU partnership to Quakertown School District would give us other options. However, since Quakertown would not be able to offer, just like Bridges would not offer us every possible course that we would need a supplemental third-party provider to offer a student potentially to offer a student a full cyber experience. So with working with Quakertown School District, we could supplement any holes that might exist to create a full cyber schedule for a student through a third-party provider. And that's part of the reason we're testing Apex to see what the curriculum is like. So when I wrote this document, I was writing it as if I was going to be speaking about that partnership first. So I guess that's why I see why you see it as confusing. So the Apex Learning Comprehensive Course Pilot will help us as we transition from the Bucks IU program. So maybe when we go into that, it will be a little clearer to you.
Alright, so, and are we still, so is the money for the courses, is that coming from, are we not gonna hire as many teachers then for the summer school? Is that where, or do we still have to hire teachers, because we're gonna have both the cyber and the teachers in the school?
So the money from the, for summer school comes from summer school, so that comes from the high school budget, doesn't come from the curriculum office. This money comes from the online learning budget, so we had one for Bridges and VHS Virtual High School. That's where the funding just for the pilot comes from. If we need to go purchase, that would be a program improvement proposal. Does that make sense?
So you're, no.
So the question is, how are we paying for the Apex, or what are we doing about Bridges?
No, Apex.
No, Apex, there's funds in the current, this year budget that are left over from, I think it's from the line of VHS, Virtual High School, that we didn't use at all. So that's where the pilot money is coming from. The next part of this presentation will be about moving away from Bridges with a partnership with Quakertown, so that money would just be a line item change on the budget as per name. It's all online learning.
So you're using money that's left over from this year's budget in next year's budget? Don't you have to, for Apex, that's what you just said.
For the pilot.
So does
So-
it have to be put into next year's budget?
Or we purchased
It-
this before the end?
It was already, right, so it would have to be purchased this year to run the pilot, so it wasn't for next year. I mean, ultimately,
purchased
we use money from this year's budget just for the Apex. What was the total?
$1,500.
$1,500.
For Apex? Okay.
So just to clarify, the 1,500, not that it's a big deal money, but the 1,500 is already in this current year's budget, and it will be spent in this current year's budget before the end of the fiscal year.
Because it had to be done that way.
And it's
Thank you,
only,
Ms.
well, no,
And then the cost,
takes a village.
our summer school students are charged a fee, so I don't know how that will factor in the end to the costs.
Right, that's supposed to cover the teachers, so we're still gonna have the same number of teachers for the high school summer school is what you're saying.
We still need 2 teachers, yes.
Yeah,
As far as making sure that the curriculum meets the needs specifically of each student, how does this program do that? Are you saying that they take a pretest and then based on that pretest, they determine exactly what they need to work on? And then you said they take quizzes at the end. So are the quizzes just on the material that that you found that they needed from the pretest? And so they do the work for that and then am I understanding that right? Is that
Yes.
the plan?
Yes, so it's completely aligned with Pennsylvania Common Core. So the students would take a pretest measuring the standards for that content curriculum, let's say US history. They take the pretest, then based on how they do, it creates a personalized pathway through units, and perhaps, let's say in Unit 1, the standards that student is missing can be met in the first 3 lessons of Unit 1. They will go through instruction, which includes reading, online simulations, videos, traditional kind of analysis, if I use the history example of a political cartoon. They'll go through those activities, and then they'll be given a quiz. The quiz will be set to a mastery level as well. So if they don't meet mastery, let's say mastery is 70%, to show proficiency, I should say. If it's 70%, if they don't meet that level, they have the opportunity to go back, kind of look through the work again, and retake the quiz. After 2 times of retaking the quiz, then the student obviously needs some intervention, and the teacher would see that, and the teacher would then work with them so that then they could take the quiz again before they move on. It's completely set and locked so that the students can't move from one quadrant or area within the lesson until they've demonstrated proficiency. So after they finish the unit, then they would take a unit test, an overall cumulative test of the standards that were addressed within that unit.
So the quizzes they can take online before they move on to the next one, it's just the cumulative test that they have to come in and
Yes,
take?
the quizzes are more for formative assessment than summative assessment. So those they could take individually, independently. But the end of the unit tests are the ones where they absolutely have to be in the classroom to be monitored, taking them.
Are we, I know it says that prices are the cost is comparable in here, this might be for a different part of this, but are we going to discuss all of the costs associated with all of these things we're talking about, like switching to Quakertown as opposed to all the things that we're talking about? Are we going to have those prices, because they're not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, as soon as we move on to bridges, and then that will answer your questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
Sure.
you mentioned the licensing, now that you said it's the one-time license and it can transfer it to another student.
Exactly.
Is that license for as many courses as they need?
Yes, so if we have one student who needs to remediate in 5 classes, that one seat, that student has access to all 5 classes that he needs, which is different than a lot of the way that a lot of other companies price their material, their product, and especially the fact that then when that student is finished, that seat can transfer to a new student who has a need is a fantastic value for us.
Thank you.
Do we know anyone else who's used this program and had success with it?
Oh yeah, Apex has been used. It's actually one of the third-party providers that bridges our online partnership that we've had with the Bucks County IU. Apex is used by them very, very frequently. So we've had many students for many years participating in Apex classes. Quakertown has used Apex classes to supplement their online learning. It's used, I believe, there were other local districts that are not coming to my head right now, but it's a national leader in terms of offering online comprehensive courses and online taught courses as well, courses where they hire the teachers who are Pennsylvania certified to teach the courses as well.
So are we ready to move on to the bridges, Quakertown?
Yes. Okay, so I think probably we need a little background information on how our relationship with Bridges has worked to kind of explain some of the cost differences that would occur as we move from Quakertown to Quakertown if that goes through. Currently with our situation with Bucks County IU, we pay a membership fee into their service of $5,000 a year. Please, Dr. Scheid, interrupt me if I get any of these numbers wrong. We pay $5,000 a year. We also have provided this year 2 teachers to the IU teaching a section, a cyber or online section. We have a teacher who's teaching Algebra 2 through the Bucks County IU Bridges program, and we have a teacher who is teaching Introduction to Business. Those teachers really have been somewhat underutilized. For example, the teacher who's teaching the business class really didn't get her first student in the second semester until halfway through the semester. So we're not really utilizing those 2 teaching sections very well in our partnership with Bridges. In return for providing 2 teachers and providing our $5,000 membership fee, we get 10 seats for each teacher into, or sorry, it's 25 seats into Bridges. And a seat means a seat in a course, not like when I was saying with APACS that once a student leaves, a new student can come in. We get 25 free seats into their program. That has not been enough seats for us. We've always been having to pay beyond those 25 free seats. Those 25, I say free seats, but remember they're coming with the cost of $5,000 of a membership, and they're coming of the cost of 2 teaching sections as well. So when we have to go over our 25 seats, we end up having to pay $400 for a course from Bridges out of pocket for a student. What we're seeing as well is that Bridges hasn't been able to provide enough courses for our students because not enough districts are really contributing teachers and curriculum to the program. So then what happens is Bridges has to go to a third-party provider, which is fine, they have great programs, and Apex is one of those providers. Bridges then charges us, they have an upcharge on those seats within the Apex courses for administrative purposes. So those courses, instead of costing us $300 for a semester, which is what Apex would charge, the IU charges us $350 a semester for those courses. So what ends up happening is we're paying a service fee that up until this point we really needed in terms of administering those students and aiding those students in getting set up and monitoring those students in their Apex classes. What we would like to do is we'd like to kind of take control of that ourselves. If our Apex pilot goes well, we really don't need the IU to be monitoring our Apex classes for us. In my role as tech integrator and working with the cyber program, I'm capable of going ahead, or someone else in my position could be going ahead and monitoring those students. So we really don't need that extra charge from the IU for administrative purposes of those Apex courses. And again, Bridges is having to rely much more on those Apex courses because Quakertown has been pulling away their cyber classes from the Bridges partnership. Quakertown plans on completely pulling away from the Bridges partnership next year, which means, again, Bridges will have to rely even more on third-party providers. Third-party providers we could be purchasing courses from directly without the service fees, without the membership, without the 2 teaching sections that would be going to Bridges. Quakertown is very interested in partnering with us in terms of selling us seats into their classes, into their catalog. What that would provide for us is more direct contact between the teachers who are teaching our students and our students. Right now, we have teachers who are teaching our students in the cyber program who could be, again, from a third-party provider, who could be from New Hope-Solebury, who could be from Quakertown, who could be from Neshaminy. We've got teachers all over the place, and that's been a problem for us as we've tried to create good communication lines as our students have had issues in classes, and we've tried to get feedback and consistency, and really kind of regulating the type of instruction that our students are experiencing has been difficult in the Bridges program. By partnering with Quakertown, we have more of a one-on-one relationship with them, and we'll know who's teaching our students. Additionally, as we begin to develop our own cyber classes, Quakertown is very interested in taking seats in our courses. So we can create a seat-for-seat exchange rather than a dollar-for-dollar exchange in terms of course offerings. Looking at the cost differences, what we've seen within it is, first, it's really hard to determine how much we would save because of the way the seats get handed out by Bridges. So we get our 25 free seats per student, but those seats could be seats in a Bridges taught class, which would be a cheaper price if we were paying on the open market, or it could be a seat in an Apex class. Apex classes run from semester to semester. They're charged semester to semester. So when we have a student in the first semester enroll in a Bridges class, even though it's only half a Bridges Apex class, even though it's only a semester seat, we get charged a full seat for it. If it's a Bridges class that our student goes into, and that's a full year course, it runs for the full year of the charge, that's counted as a seat. Now, when I say that we go into, I know this is probably confusing because I'm confusing myself, so I apologize for that. So when we say an Apex class is a semester class, it does not mean it's a 0.5 credit class. It's just charged by semester. So if a student enrolls in one Bridges partner course, that's a full year course, we're charged a seat. If the student then comes and enrolls in an Apex full year course, that first semester is charged as a seat, and the second semester is charged as a seat. So every Apex full year course that we're taking through Bridges, we're getting charged for 2 seats. And that makes us eat through our seat allotment really, really very quickly, because a full year class of an Apex class is costing us 2 of our allotted seats. We feel that we can really offer our students a better opportunity and a better experience when we are able to offer them more classes through a partnership with Quakertown and the local school district, where we have more communication and control over the teachers. Without Quakertown's courses being offered through Bridges, again, there'll be more of a reliance on these third-party providers, and the expense will go up. So while the cost first year for Quakertown and Bridges in terms of the dollars we put out will be about the same, it might be slightly more, about $200 or $300 more with Quakertown. What we'll gain is we won't be having a teacher losing a teaching section for our students here at the high school by providing that to Bridges, because we'll be gaining that teaching section. So we really feel like this will be a better partnership for us to grow our cyber program and perhaps start to lure back some of our cyber charter students back into our district. We also hope that we'll be able to offer more variety of classes as Quakertown begins to try to develop, for example, more diverse foreign language offerings, and perhaps we could begin to do the same as well by developing this partnership. So we really feel it's going to offer us, again, more control and offer us really a way to maybe more quickly grow our own cyber program at the same time.
Can you tell me how much it actually costs per student for this Quakertown program?
For a year-long course, it's going to cost $600, and for a semester course, it will be $300.
And if they're doing it themselves in-house, why are they charging us so much? Like you said, it's going to cost us more money to switch to Quakertown than it would have to stay with where we are, but it'll be better in the long run. So if they're doing this in-house and they want us to help fill their seats to make it more worthwhile to them, I just don't know why then they're upcharging us.
Well, they're charging the $600 for a year-long class versus what we were charged at Bridges, which was $400 for a year-long consortium taught class. But what we're not paying is we're not paying that upfront $5,000 fee. So yes, the per class fee is higher, but we're not paying that initial fee. So within those number of courses, it's going to take a while before those classes are truly more expensive than the classes we were taking by and through Bridges.
So the $5,000 covered 25 seats, and then you paid in addition to that, or it was
The $5,000 and for every teacher you provided teaching a section, you got 25 seats.
Oh, so we actually had 50 seats.
Yes.
Right.
We are pulling the 2 teachers back.
I was going to say, when you don't.
We gave them back to the high school.
I'm sorry,
It was
it's-
scheduled.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it wasn't,
It's 15 seats. I'm just looking back at my notes.
it's not 25, it's 15 seats. 15 seats, sorry. For Bridges, $5,000 membership fee with one teacher, each teacher gets 15 seats, so with 2 teachers it's 30. I apologize for that.
Here, maybe I'm just confused with all this. Am I there?
Yeah, you got, oh,
Okay.
now you're on.
Who's teaching the Apex courses?
They're Pennsylvania certified teachers who teaches the Apex courses when you buy them as a full cyber course. The courses in our pilot right now, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. The courses we bought with the pilot are full curriculum and quizzes and tests, but there's not a teacher associated with them. So our teachers would be monitoring those.
Because it sounds like you're concerned with the Bridges or the IU, we're getting all different teachers.
Exactly.
Our teachers are going to be monitoring this.
With the pilot, yes, absolutely. Now, let's say we have a student who we are going to give a cyber schedule to next year, assuming we go through with this Quakertown program. Quakertown does not have every single class that a student might need to fulfill their needs on theirs to offer us. So we may have to fill in a class with a third-party provider like Apex. And in that situation, we'd be doing with an Apex top class with an Apex teacher.
Well, why can't we just purchase all of them through Apex? It sounds like Apex would even be would even be cheaper than Quakertown, right? So couldn't we just go directly through Apex?
No, it would be the same price. Apex is $300 per semester, so $600 for a year-long course. The $1,500 Apex was the 25 seats for the pilot of the comprehensive courses that do not have teachers associated with them. The Apex charges $300 a semester per course.
Can we, I mean, what is the value of our teachers? What is it costing us by losing a section for 2 teachers going there? Like, I would like to see that cost. I feel like when we get all of this with no information and then we're here trying to figure out the numbers while we're here, I would like to see a cost analysis that shows these 2 teachers that we're sending there cost us this much money. The program is costing us this much money per seat. This is what we want to replace it with, and this is how much it costs us per seat. I mean, with all these jumbled up numbers, it's really difficult to compare apples to apples. So if we could see an analysis of that, I think that would be really helpful.
I agree, because I'm trying to write it down and figure it out, and we should have all these numbers. And I mean, I'm estimating that if you say a teacher, and I don't know what exactly, let's just say the teacher costs $80,000 a year, and I don't even know if that's correct, but assuming that in 2 sections is 0.4 of a position, that's $32,000. And if you divide that by plus the 5,000, so that's $37,000, and you divide that by 30 seats, that's $1,233 per course.
For the IU.
For the IU. Right, so I mean, right, and now we're talking, and then it wasn't clear, but you just explained it. Apex, they're charging us $1,500 just for the pilot. And is that a semester, or is that for a year? That's not clear either.
How long is our?
Yeah,
How long is the
semester
pilot?
course, or are they year-long courses? And does it work, how does it work if the student is remediating a year-long course, but then they do it in a semester? How does that work?
The $1,500 pilot is a pilot for from April and it would end into September. So however many months that is. Was it 4 months? May, June, July, August, September, 5 months pilot. So that's the pilot, and that's the $1,500 for the comprehensive courses that are not with the teacher. What happens with those courses, with our 25 seats into those courses for remediation purposes, is if a student does remediate very quickly and has done the work, his license then could be transferred to another student. So during that pilot phase with those comprehensive courses, if we were to, those comprehensive courses again are just curriculum, they are not, there's no teacher coming from Apex associated with them. That's why we're using them in the Twilight program, because there's a teacher there. That's why we're using them with summer school, because there will be 2 teachers there to monitor and help and remediate with the students as necessary. Then Apex offers another service, separate from the comprehensive courses, which is just curriculum. They offer another service where there is a teacher attached to those cyber courses, and the teacher monitors, provides feedback, provides remediation as necessary as a student goes through the courses. In a course, a seat is a seat. So if Johnny enrolls in US history and then transfers out of the district, we bought that seat. That seat's purchased, it can't be transferred to somebody else. So we pay for a course, and it's a course that runs the calendar year of school from September to June. They charge by the semester, however. They charge by the semester. So if Johnny is with us for the first semester and then does not enroll again for the second half of the course in the second part of the year, we would not have to pay the $300 additional dollars for that semester.
Can I ask, we have a study island program that does a lot of what you're saying you can do with Apex. Why couldn't we utilize that for summer school? Why couldn't whatever kids missed work throughout the year, why can't they do the study islands that those teachers had already set up for that year in that subject area? Instead of paying for Apex to do, I mean, am I missing something? It seems to me that because it corrects you, it even gives you, whether they get it right or wrong, then afterwards it gives you an explanation for why your answer was right or why your answer was wrong.
at the high school level, and Dr. Scheid, please feel free to chime in, it doesn't have the array of courses. Study Island doesn't have the array of courses. For example, our Principles of Science class or our chemistry class, I believe that they're more targeted towards the skills for either Keystone or PSSA testing, not the entire gamut of standards that are addressed in all subject areas within the high school.
That's correct. It is limited in that way. Apex is not limited at all in that way, but we do use Study Island, and it is in particular for state assessment classes.
Chemistry seems to me like it would be a difficult thing even to have. Apex actually has that for chemistry. That just seems to me something difficult it would be difficult to learn through a program like that.
I think for some, and for others, it isn't. Really, what we've learned is some students do very well. Some students would do well if they understood how it worked. It's the personalization that we're looking at here in terms of a one-size-fits-all model to meeting specific needs of individual students to help them fill in the gaps, and that's really why we're doing that. There are limitations to Study Island, as in particular high school. We do use it. I mean, it's effective. We like it. It works for what it's meant for.
But so this summer school program that you're talking about using Apex for is only for the high school level. It's not for the lower levels at all.
It's not. We have an elementary summer program.
Okay.
It's not like this at all.
And what was the answer to Mrs. Vanstone's question about why not just use Apex and why use Quakertown?
I really feel, I think Dr. Scheid would agree with me that with Quakertown, building that relationship, that again, we're getting that teacher who we can talk to on a more personal basis. We are aware of the quality of the teacher who's associated with those courses. And again, we hope to create a partnership like the idea, the vision that Bridges was of districts coming together and sharing teachers and sharing courses to build a cyber program. We would really like to develop that relationship with Quakertown so that we can start to see some of that cost avoidance of our students going to cyber charter schools by more quickly developing a full catalog that we're contributing to with Quakertown to offer an alternative for students who are looking for a full cyber experience.
Isn't it still cheaper just to pay the $600 for a year-long course than a section of a teacher? It seems like that's still cheaper.
Oh, yes.
So why?
I just want to add something here too, because I think in the big picture, we've been having conversations with folks up at Quakertown who have done a masterful job in creating their own cyber academy. And the vision is that Upper Bucks would share. It wouldn't be just Pennridge. It would be the Upper Bucks school districts sharing classes. So we want to build the classes that there'd be reciprocity. We would take classes at Pennridge. We'll send some students to you and work that way. So that's the exciting part that has been going on. That's where it is all coming from. And the fact that we were being charged one fee from Bridges and our teachers were being underutilized. So there were a number of things going on at the same time, and that's why we've been in discussion with them.
I just feel like Quakertown's getting the better end of the deal, and maybe we need to do better negotiating. Can we also find out what exactly the cost is per student to Quakertown? I want to know what it's costing them. Yeah, their per pupil cost, because I want to know what their cost is compared to what they're charging us. Because if they want us to pay a little extra to form this partnership where they make money off of us, I'd like to see how much money they make doing that. And they say that later, okay, well then later we build some courses, and then we have Quakertown come over here. But in reality, they know they're going to have more, they're going to be offering more courses, we're going to be taking up more of their seats than ours, so we're going to be paying them more money than ours. And when they do that exchange with us, you said it's a seat-for-seat exchange. So when they're coming up with this pricing, they're not ever expecting to be paying us that money per seat, because they're expecting that we're always going to have more seats on their side than they have on our side. So then they're just exchanging a seat-for-seat value to get their seats in our courses. You know what I mean?
I do. I'm going to give you all the cost breakdown that everybody's looking for. Absolutely, I'll do that. But for the most part, the courses our students were taking through Bridges were through Quakertown. Essentially, 90-some% of the teachers in Bridges are Quakertown.
And those-
It's their classes, that's why with Bridges and the IU, they're looking to go in a different direction because Quakertown pulling out, they're not going to have the staff to do what they were doing for all of us in Bucks County. They won't have the staff to do it. So they're moving in a direction towards elementary and they're trying to develop something different. In essence, they've been Quakertown teachers. That's how they populated the Bridges program.
Right,
But by being Bridges teachers, Quakertown wasn't making the money that they're going to make by breaking off and doing their own thing.
Well, no doubt.
So that's
No, I
the piece that-
understand that it'll benefit them.
I think
There's
what
no
we're
question.
missing here is the Bridges program, as well as the IU does with most programs, the Bridges program has not been fully successful from the beginning.
For a
The
long
reason
time.
it went to Quakertown was because Quakertown was ahead of the curve. Dr. Andreyko, the former superintendent there, was extremely involved in cyber courses and has actually gone to places like China to offer her expertise on that. They are far ahead of both Pennridge and most of the rest of the county, I believe. But the program itself, the Bridges program, has been rife with some real issues along the way, not the least of which are what you've described tonight. Does that mean Quakertown can do better? I suspect the answer is yes, simply because of their expertise.
does that help?
Thank you. Does that help?
Sorry, Mrs. Yardley, the one question you were asking, not counting the section cost that you were calculating with the guess of $80,000 per teacher, without factoring in that cost, the cost difference using the number of seats that we utilized in Bridges and applying that with our Quakertown, to the Quakertown prices, using those figures from this year, Quakertown would have a total cost of $20,000, and the Bridges total cost was $17,000. And again, that's not factoring in the 2 teaching sections. So if we took everything we used with Bridges this year, our total cost was $17,300. Our total cost, if we took those numbers and applied it to the Quakertown values, the cost would be $20,700. So it is more, but that, again, those numbers that I just said are not factoring in the teaching section costs, which are very large.
And that's the information I'll get. I think that table with all the information will be very helpful. I'm sorry we don't have that here tonight, but I will send that to all of you.
Yeah, and how many students and what's the plan? Is this going to be, is this the 1-year plan? I mean, what's
The plan in terms of Bridges to Quakertown?
And also, could you include what the cost would be for APEC separately, like individually, in that breakdown that you're doing?
Sure.
It wouldn't be a 1-year plan. We've had a partnership with Bridges. We would expect that then we would have the partnership with, if this is approved, after you see all the numbers and everything, that we would have a partnership with Quakertown until we feel that it isn't working for us. But it would be by contract.
So any other comments? This is to be continued, obviously. If not, Mrs. Gurysh?
All right, so the easy part, Brightbytes survey, if you guys recall from last year, or if you're new to the board, our partnership with Brightbytes. Brightbytes is an educational analytical company, and what they do is they provide a survey for schools to use to monitor, to measure their use of technology to support 21st century learning. We used this survey last year. At the end of the school year, we gave it to all of our students in grades 3 through 12, and we gave it to all of our certified staff as well. From that, we were able to see where we are in terms of meeting 21st century technology integration goals. We were able to use that to help us understand where our needs are for devices. We were able to use that to help sculpt and direct our professional development plans for this year as well. So with that contract that we had with Brightbytes from last year, we are now going to be engaging in our follow-up collection to see how we've done, see how the initiatives that we put into effect over the past year have fared for us in terms, again, of our use of technology to support 21st century learning. The surveys collection will begin next week and will run until June 3rd. A difference this year is we are also going to be sending survey links to parents, so parents can have an opportunity to express their understanding and their impressions of technology use of their individual students' schools as well. All of the survey links are school specific, so parents will be able to express their impressions in regard to the elementary school that their child may go to, or middle school, or high school, or all three if that's the case. Additionally, within each survey, we'll be able to break down by grade level. So we'll be able to look at a school and how they're doing in 3rd grade, how they're doing in 4th grade, and how they're doing in 5th grade in terms of utilizing technology to support learning. So we're excited to see what the results show. We're very optimistic that we'll see some great growth with some of the initiatives that we've put into place this year.
So what's the start date? Because on the portal it says May 9th, but you said now it's next week.
We got a little delayed in getting the links out to the schools, so schools, they're going to be out on Monday so that they can start it on Monday. And when we met with the principals just this week, Brightbytes is really flexible. If for whatever reason the principals need a little more time to administer to their students, we can always extend that end date by a week if necessary.
So this was all under one contract, so this isn't costing us, this was already built into our initial contract, right?
Any other comments or questions on this? I have something that is a slight diversion. I apologize for that, but I do think it's pertinent, and especially since you're here tonight, Mrs. Gurysh. On my way here tonight, I was listening to WHYY.
I heard the same story.
I would like to request, do you get Education Week by chance?
I don't.
All right, well, hopefully someone in the district does. I obviously do not. The story had to do with a survey that has been done by Michigan State University, a Dr. Chang. Don't quote me on that name. I believe that's correct, but it may not be. This woman looked at other surveys to see how the one-to-one programs had been operating and what the results were in districts. I won't spill the beans on what they found, but I do think it's something that we should find a copy of and share with the board. So if you can spearhead that.
Are we going to like it?
It sounds
I
like
think
you're
you
gonna
will.
like it.
Yes. You never let anything go, Mrs. Miller. Yes, the results on the whole, I think, were positive.
I hope so. I hope so.
But it's I believe, one of the most comprehensive surveys that have been done on this kind of program at the high school level. So we should definitely try to get on board with that.
I agree. I heard the same story, and one of the key takeaways that I got was not only were they seeing improvements in test scores in those testable skills, but they were also seeing evidence that indicates a lot of improvement in soft skills as well, collaboration, creativity, and communication coming through from a one-to-one program as well. So I was really happy that that was addressed within that story.
Don't give away too much.
Sorry.
Gurysh.
Spoiler alert.
You're spoiling it.
Not too
Might
much.
as well told us.
Good. Yeah, I'll get it.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
So thank you for
Thank
the
you.
presentations tonight. The next item is the ELA focused inquiry. This is Opdyke.
Good evening, everyone. So as you know, the curriculum department just conducted a focused inquiry on our K-5 Reading English Language Arts program. We partnered with Dr. Eddie Stewart and Dr. Lindsay Scheid from the Bucks County IU. They recently conducted interviews of teachers and administrators based on the following goals. 1, to determine to what degree the current program is meeting the expectations outlined in the Pennsylvania Common Core. 2, to determine the areas of professional development needs. And 3, to determine to what degree data is used to inform instruction. The administrative team selected a representative sample from each grade level to participate in the interviews. Based on the results of the interviews, we will form focus groups to work on identified areas of RELA curriculum, instruction, and assessment to ensure that we have everything we need to meet the needs of all learners. Teachers were very appreciative of their ability to participate in the process. One of the themes that has been shared with us from Dr. Scheid and Dr. Stewart is the need for a Literacy Leadership Council comprised by teachers and administrators to guide the work that will come from the final report. The teachers of Pennridge have such a great wealth of knowledge that will be a tremendous asset to the new Literacy Leadership Council. We are very